Today, I'm going to show you how you can build AI agents with Claude MCP or Model Context Protocol. Now with this, you can ask Claude Desktop and say, can you list all the files in my download directory? It can actually access them or get me the weather for Tampa and actually give me the current 5-day weather forecast for Tampa or whatever city you want. And it can do a lot of other things, but I'm going to show you just how to set it up because it's a little nuanced and for some reason they don't really give the best documentation on actually how to set everything up and what it means. But MCP just enables developers to expose data through standardized MCP servers and connect applications to these servers. That's exactly what I mean. They just used MCP everywhere without actually explaining what exactly MCP is. But the idea behind this is to replace the need for custom integrations, that's kind of, and then reduce complexity and maintenance overhead. Now, here's a quick picture of an overview of what it is. Basically, we're have a host, which is typically our computer. They don't have anything remote yet, I don't think, but we're gonna have a host such as Claude Desktop, which I'm gonna show you how to set up and use. That's called an MCP client. And then we're gonna access MCP servers where it has the context, the prompts, and the tools to send back to our MCP clients, which is us. So now in their GitHub, they have featured servers, which are somewhat easy to set up. I'm gonna have to go through this with you because again, the documentation to set up, it's not the easiest thing to set up. I just want to let you know that right now, but I'm going to show you how to do it. But what they have here, these featured servers, they have like file system, Git, Postgres, SQL database, Slack, you have Puppeteer, Brave Search. They have all these servers that you can use right now that they're giving you. Otherwise, if you want to use something else, which we'll go through an example at the end, is you can create your own server to do your own things, such as, you want to integrate Gmail, or you want to integrate Outlook, or as I'm going to show you, how to integrate weather. Okay, so with the news of this new Anthropic protocol, I'll give you the link to this page. This will kind of give you everything you need to get started. So to start building, we first need to install pre-built MCP servers through the Claude Desktop app. So we're going to download Claude Desktop, then install MCP servers, which are basically the tools to connect to Claude Desktop so we can ask it to do something, and then we'll create our own. So the first thing is we need to install Claude Desktop. Okay, so click on the link here for Claude Desktop app, and then you'll choose Mac, Windows, whichever you have. And then once you do that, it'll just, download Claude, and you just double click that and install it on your computer. It's really simple. Okay, and so this part is after you do this is something they don't really explain very well, but you need to have a specific JSON file to actually give like the MCP servers, which are, essentially tools that are connecting to your Claude Desktop. And so that your Claude Desktop knows which server to connect to do the job, right? So in order to do this, we do need to create the JSON file first. Okay, so all I've done is I've just opened up my terminal and I'm going to paste this command, this is Windows, to create the Claude Desktop config.json, right? Let me actually expand this out so you can see a little bit better. So you need this Claude Desktop config.json. Now you already have a JSON file in this directory, but it's not called this. So we're going to press enter, and now we have created it. So if I go back here to the specific folder that gets created for Claude Desktop, this is the JSON file. Now let's go ahead and open this in whatever IDE, text editor, it doesn't matter, just some sort of editor, because now we're going to be adding things to this. Okay, so I am going to add it and I'm going to open it up in Cursor IDE. It is currently nothing in here. Now in this GitHub page, they have, like I mentioned in the PowerPoint, they have a bunch of featured servers. So let's go ahead and choose one that's going to allow us to do a web and local search using something called Brave. So if I just click on Brave or open a new link, this is going to explain to us how to add this to, as an MP server, as an MCP server. Yeah, it's hard to say. And then so we can get started using it. But first, we just sign up for a Brave Search API account. You can go ahead and sign up for free. I had already signed up and logged in, so let me log back in. Okay, then once you get here, you do have to go to the subscriptions tab, and then you just have to go ahead and sign up for the free version, which is just all I did. Then go to API keys here. Again, sign up. Go to subscriptions, sign up for the free version, and then you'll have an API key. You'll need that in a second because what we then need to do is you choose the plan, generate your API key. That I just showed you exactly how to do that. It says we need to add this to our Claude Desktop config.json, and then you just go ahead and copy this. I'm going to open up Cursor. I'm going to paste this in here, right? And then all I'm going to do is take my API key. I'm going to take my API key here. So go ahead and copy this. And then I would paste that here. Okay, I actually want to show you what's like without this MCP server for Brave Search. Try to talk to Claude Desktop and then hopefully it doesn't work. It shouldn't work. And then I'm going to add this back in and then show you how it does work. Okay, so open up Claude. I don't have anything in my Claude desktop config. I want to say, can you search the web and tell me what MCP is? So it should basically say that it doesn't have the capability to search the web, and it doesn't, right? So now it's just kind of, it's just kind of guessing whatever hallucinating. So that's fine. That's what I expected. Now I'm going to add this back in. Now I went ahead and added everything back in. And whenever you make a change, you need to save it and then exit out of Claude Desktop and then come back in. So I can say, can you search the web and tell me what Claude MCP is? That'll be a bit more direct. And then now it's going to see it's running Brave Web Search from Brave Search Local, right? So you can say allow tool. So it's going to use the tool Brave Search that we have created, or that we installed. So now the query is, Claude MCP meaning definition, right? And then it's basically, it's like returning everything it got from actually searching the web, right? So all we did was install an MCP server. We had to get the API key for it. But now when we talk to Claude Desktop, ask any question, it's going to connect to that MCP server as a one-to-one connection and then send any information back to Claude Desktop and display it here. Now let's test another one. Okay, so let's go and use another featured server here. Let's do a file system. That's what I wanted to show you. So in here, it's kind of tells you the features. It can read, write, create list directories, move files, all kinds of things, right? So this is the API. These are all the tools that are in this server that we can use. Then at the bottom, it always tells you how to add this to your Claude desktop config. So all you need to do is, right, you don't need to copy this whole thing. If you already have one, right, you're basically going to be adding in a list of MCP servers. So I can just kind of think right there, copy that. And then when I'm back in my Claude desktop configuration, put comma here and then paste in the file system. Okay, so now what I have here is I have to give it, I'm going to give it my users, Tyler Reed, my desktop, and my users, Tyler Reed downloads, right? So I'm basically giving it access just to these file paths. You could give it access to more file paths, whatever you want to do, right? But I just kind of want to show you an example here. And again, to use this, once you save it, you have to restart Claude Desktop. Okay, so now with also having the file system, I can say, can you list all the files in my downloads folder? So now it's going to make a connection to the file system MCP server. Again, I'm going to say allow for this chat. And then it's going to search in my downloads directory because I gave it access to it, right? So the path is users, Tyler Reed downloads, and then it's going to give me a list of everything, right? So actually here is everything. I have 137 files, 15 directories. A lot of them are, core stuff, right? So Crew AI, core stuff, LM Studio, lots of zip files, JSON files. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. That's what I basically have on my downloads. Then let's say I gave it access to also my desktop. I have a lot of screenshots there. Can you tell me how many screenshots I have in my desktop? So then I'll help you count the screenshots from your desktop. So yes, allow it access to my desktop. So it's now going to search. So it says I have a total of 84 files, potential screenshot like MPG 16. So a total of 100 files. I'm not going to exactly fact check to make sure that that's proper. But if I didn't give it the server, if I didn't install the server that had the tool to do this, then it wouldn't be able to do this anyway. It would just say they don't have access to your local machine. So what this is, I mean, it is pretty amazing, right? That you just have a desktop application that you can talk to. Once you give it the tools, then it is just an AI agent to help you do whatever you need to do, right? Because you can move files. Let me do that one time. So I have a local Flask PNG file. So I'm gonna say, can you move the local flask.png file from my desktop to the downloads? Let's see if this works. Actually, I haven't tried this yet. I'll move, allow for this chat. So the source is the local Flask PNG. It doesn't have the underscore. It says it's been successfully moved. Let's see. So it was around here. Now let me go to my downloads. Yep, and there it is, local Flask PNG. So it did move it from my desktop to my downloads. Actually, I hadn't tried that yet, so I'm glad we got to do that together. There's a problem with this right as of right now. This is new, right? It only has, I don't want to say only, 3,100 stars. Yesterday, I tested this, had 2,500, so it gained 600 stars in less than 24 hours. But these are the pre-built servers that you can use, which means that this is all, unless you make your own, this is really all you can use. And that's fine. This might be enough for a lot of you, right? But now what I'm going to do is show you how to actually create your own MCP server that you can connect to do something else, like whatever that may be. And in this case, I'm going to be connecting you to the Open Weather Map API so that we can ask it all about the weather for your city. Now, in order to do this, there are some things that you have, there's like a list of things that you have to do. First off, it has to be above Python version 3.10 or else it won't work at all. They also recommend that you have UV installed. That's how they kind of set up. That's how they kind of create the base MCP server that you can build from. So just make sure you have that. In Mac, it's brew install UV. And then in any project folder, right, you're just going to say UVX. So it creates it just here. The create MCP server path is just going to be weather service. So I've already done that. And that's what this folder structure is over here. And then you need to create a .env file, which is going to host your Open Weather Map API. And I'll show you what that is in just a second. In this server, I will have this code for you. And let's just go over some of this real quick, right? So there's a lot going, there's a good bit going on here. All right, let's just say it for what it is. There's a lot going on here. It seems like they just make it sound like it's just easy. Oh, you're just using the MCP protocol to connect from a tool or a server, which is having a tool, which is just code to go grab API and get the data for whatever you need, and then send it back to your desktop. And then, it can do a lot of things for you. And I think this is really cool. But there is a fair amount of code that you need to do here. And this is all just for the weather, right? It's basically just like fetching weather data. You need to be able to, this is listing sources. This is reading the resource. So you need to be able to have a function to list the tools, which is basically, in this case, list of all the available weather tools. So we're just really going to have one tool, right? It's going to be called get forecast. You get all the properties for it, which ones are required. Then you have a function to call the tool. And then this is what is going to be called to then grab all the data and send it back to the client, which is the Claude desktop. All right. So there is a fair amount here. Like I said, I'm not really going to go over all of this, but there's documentation I'll link to you that has all the base information on how to connect everything here. But if you go to openweathermap.org, you sign up. It's free. And then what you have to do is in your email, you'll get a confirmation. Get that confirmation because it wasn't working for me until I realized they gave me an email that I had to confirm, and then everything worked. And then you can just basically copy this code. I'll have links in the description for everything that you need. And then now we can go ahead and test it. But first, we have to add it. So we have to go back, and again, this is considered a server. So we have to add this as another MCP server in order to get this to work. And so what we're doing here is, it's weather. Okay, and then what basically here is this is the command to run it. So in this case, it's UV. You'll see npx up here. There's also pip for Python. It just kind of depends, right? Depending on what the type of the server is. But for the path to project, right? These are the arguments, right? So the directory. This is the full directory to the weather service folder, on your actual machine, right? So then we're going to run this, and we're running weather service. So then just in your weather map API key, once you kind of got that set up, you're just going to paste that in here. Okay. And then of course, once I save that, again, you have to restart Claude desktop. That kind of stinks, but it just is what it is for right now. So now we have the weather. Let's choose another city. I actually don't know but let's say San Francisco. What is the weather like in San Francisco? Typically, it would say that it doesn't know, it doesn't have live updates to the current weather. However, you can see that, okay, so what actually happened here is I said, what's the weather in San Francisco? It actually tried to use Brave web search, and then it couldn't get, actual forecast weather. So then I was a little more specific and said, can you get the weather in Tampa for me using the weather tool? And now it actually is, right? So temperature actually right now, I think it says 64 degrees like a little bit ago. So 65 is probably about right. And then it gives me tomorrow and then the day after. So it's kind of like a 3-day forecast right now. This is actually getting the results from the get forecast. That's the actual function or the tool being used inside of the weather MCP server. So if you come down here, right, it has, it's breaking down exactly the date, the temperature, and the conditions, right? But we set that in the actual code. That's in the code when we retrieve the API call from openweathermap.org. It's actually giving this data, and this is all that we're actually wanting to return back to Claude Desktop, right? So this is, this is kind of crazy. We have a desktop application. We set up what they're calling servers, and they call it the MCP protocol, which is essentially a secure way locally to use all these tools so that then they can go retrieve the data with those tools, and it's supposed to be way more secure. But you can create any AI agent with any tools that you want locally right here. Look, I have an amazing school community that is growing, and we are creating things all the time. I'm always adding to it, and we're creating AI agents from Crew AI. I have a full course with all the sections that you need to understand Crew AI, and also a no-code section with a free gift in there that combines N8N and Crew AI. We have weekly live sessions and coffee hours. I believe you can really benefit from joining my community and being with like-minded people that understand that AI agents are the way to go for the future. Thank you for watching. Watch these videos, and until next time, I'll see you later.